नहीं
हो
नहीं
रहा है
अभी
Okay,
हो
okay.
रहा है, अभी स्टार्ट हो।
Great, okay. So it's 10:05, guys. Let's get started. First of all, good morning to all of you. My name is Shahzad Khan. I'll be the moderator for this event. We have Priyank, who's the CEO of Ames Consulting, and Vedant, who's the CBO. They'll be taking this entire session for next 2 hours, where I'm also excited to learn, all these designing of sales architecture using various tools like N8, Zapier, and other tools. They've made some kick-ass create what do you say PPT also, which I just received. I'll be sharing that after that session. So Priyank, you can quickly start off with a little bit of introduction about Ames. From there, you guys can start off the session, and looking forward to it. Meantime, people will join. Yeah, over to you.
Yes. Hi everyone, my name is Priyank. I am the founder of Ames Consulting Services. We are primarily a GTM Engineering plus end-to-end B2B lead generation service provider. We started this company on 1st October 2019. It's been more than 6.5 years now. We have been into this space. We were earlier doing just hardcore lead generation, a complete manual approach. But later we realized that a lot of modern tools have come. Okay, not the contact extraction tools. The modern tools have come into the market which can help any sales organization to build an architecture. So we started building the GTM engineering capabilities since May 2025. Okay, and it's been a year. We are working with a lot of startups and across sectors, be it FinTech, logistic tech, cybersecurity, SaaS companies. We are working with likes of Porter, then Hungerbox, then Work India. We work with such kind of companies. This about me, I have around 14 years of experience primarily in B2B sales. With me, I have Prathant, who is the Chief Business Officer. He's been with us since 5 years. He's the one who has driven technology for Ames and at Ames as well. So yes, we have been implementing the entire sales tool GTM architecture for our organization itself, and we have built a certain use cases as well. Hence, we thought it can be useful for the sales community. We also have a YouTube channel on a company name itself. And firstly, we would like to thank Shahzad as well. This is the second session we are having at with Windows Sales. We did earlier for Clay, Phantom Buster, and Sales Navigator. Now this is the second time we are having a session with इंडो सेल्स. सो थैंक यू सो मच. मतलब मेरे को लगता है कि आप ही की वजह से एक्चुअली हमारा यूट्यूब चैनल ग्रो हो रहा है, टू बी वेरी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. ओके, बिकॉज द रीजन मी, कल भी मैंने कल कम्युनिटी में एक इनेटेन का रिक्वेस्ट आया था. आई स्टार्टेड डीएमइंग और सब्सक्राइबर्स हमारे वैसे ही बढ़ रहे. ओके, टू बी वेरी वेरी ऑनेस्ट अबाउट इट. ठीक है, बट या थैंक यू सो मच. Vritant, over to you. Yeah, you can introduce yourself and then we can start.
Sure. So thank you so much, Priyank. Thank you so much, Shahzad, for the introduction to this workshop today. Hi guys, my name is Ritant. I'm the CBO at Ames Consulting Services. Priyank already gave a quick brief about me. I'll set a quick context for this entire workshop. थोड़ा interactive रखेंगे हम लोग इसको, ठीक है, so that you guys get the best out of it. What we are going to do is we are going to share our experience, a couple of use cases that we have prepared for different industries, and we're going to deep dive into it. Okay, so this is not going to be a traditional tools training, but this is going to be more over understanding ki ye sare tools or whatever. When you talk about GTM or sales architecture, where does this come in place for us as sales professionals? Yeah, I'll quickly present my screen to start with a quick context as to what are we going to do. Okay, so primarily हम लोग जब बात करते हैं for designing and implementing GTM architecture for sales team, the question is that, okay, why is a GTM or a sales architecture actually needed? Okay, what we have seen is today with so many tools in the market, be it email automation tools like Apollo, Instantly, or contact extraction tools like Lucia, Easy Lead, Signal Hire, or having a CRM in place, क्या है कि whatever data we have is scattered across platforms. There isn't a single space where we are tracking everything. There are teams who are using Apollo to run campaigns. They are enriching emails from there and then only doing it. So there is leads coming in from there. Then there are other people who are, say, finding contact from the LinkedIn profiles and then reaching out. They're getting leads from there. So when all of this is scattered, for a sales head, for the management, or for a sales professional itself, it becomes difficult to track that, okay, what is the source through which I'm able to get higher conversion. In addition to that, what we have seen is that a lot of time sales professionals put in a lot of time in terms of doing manual research as well. और outreach के लिए set templates होते हैं वो use करते हैं, which doesn't yield anything these days, considering that cold emails itself is having a very low conversion or reply rate. So to ensure that we don't have these disconnected processes, to reduce manual work, and to ensure that we are not missing out on any opportunities, we need this system in place. Okay? And next we come to a very important question, that iska scope kya hota hai? Okay. We have asked this question in our previous workshops or engagements or with any discussion that we have had, that what is GTM engineering? Today we are going to define what is the definition of GTM engineering for us. So for us, it's a combination of all these 5 things that I've shown over here, starting with the data, that's the foundation. Then comes in automation and AI that helps in terms of reducing manual work. And to combine all of this, or to connect all of this, we need to have a process in place. And the most important part is the people who design this and monitor this as well. Eventually, what this leads to is pipeline growth. So I'll just take a quick detour over here and show you one of our live client use cases, something that is being implemented right now. Okay. So this is a client in the logistics space, and what we did for them is we built email automation, LinkedIn automation, WhatsApp automation workflows. Okay. And we do end-to-end things for them. Pura GTM engine बैठा हुआ है, plus we do the lead generation bit as well for them. So as you can see over here, it's a very simple workflow that you can see, जहाँ पे data कहीं से आ रहा है, intro email जा रहा है और फिर follow-ups जा रहे हैं. Okay. I'll deep dive into how these tools work. This is just for giving you an idea that what we have done and showing you the output of it. So see, this is one workflow that I've set for email automation. Similarly, I've set a workflow for LinkedIn automation, right from say sending the connections to sending the intro message and then follow up. I'll tell you, with this client of ours, we engaged earlier wherein we were doing everything traditionally. ईमेल ऑटोमेशन के लिए हम लोग टूल्स लाइक अपोलो या लूशा यूज करते थे, या स्नोव यूज करते थे, फिर कोल्ड कॉल्स करते थे, लिंक्डइन मैन्युअली करते थे. और I'll tell you the difference over here is, one, when we are doing at that point, we had 4 sales professionals, 4 SDRs who were working on that project. And we were able to generate 20 to 22 meetings in a month for them. These are qualified meetings. When we implemented this system, this is the result for the first month itself, wherein we were able to generate 34 meetings in a month. And the business impact over here, or business outcome that we have in place over here, we have just deployed one resource with these systems, automated systems over here in place. So what we have done is we have gone from having 4 professionals working to getting those 22 meetings to having a system in place with just one person doing everything to give us a much better outcome. Okay. So this was about it. This was about say explaining कि ये कहाँ पे ज़रूरत है और इसका scope क्या है. What is the actual outcome that it gets you when you are running these things. Okay. Moving on. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to cover these 5 use cases. We are going to take up 4 industry use cases, and then the 5th one is about international sales. And these are all B2B focused use cases that we are going to cover today. Moving, say for the first use case, जो है FinTech. So as a company, what we have observed is FinTech sales often happens or builds on trust and compliance, wherein there are multiple stakeholders, right from say product team, partnerships team, business teams involved to make things work. And the biggest challenge over here in this use case or in this industry is not that they don't have a broader ICP to reach out to, but they have a definite or they have a fixed amount of companies that they can reach out to. So list building or say accounts is something that is not a challenge over here. Okay. What is the challenge is defining that whether those company has a right time or is it, do they have the buying intent to connect or not. Okay. So this is about the first use case, wherein what we are considering is, say we are a lending marketplace and we want to find the right companies to reach out to out of a list of companies. Whenever say we start with the GTM architecture process, the first step is to design a workflow or design steps to our entire process. जैसे कि in this use case for FinTech, we are building an ICP scoring engine. Now many a times we as sales professionals, when we are told, okay, is the data as per the ICP or not, what we do is that we check the industry, location, headcount, या फिर annual revenue जो estimates मिलते हैं, we check that and उसकी basis में filter करके we say that नहीं यार, this is as per the ICP. But the actual thing over here is that ICP is much more broader, okay, much more deeper as well in terms of defining that whether this company is the right fit or not for us. So the problem that we are solving over here using this workflow is defining how to identify a right account that shows buying intent. Okay. So again, what we are starting with is, say we have prospect data in place. We are then defining ICP criteria whose scoring matrix itself. Okay, if I have this list of companies, on what parameters do I need to score? What is the scoring that I need to give? And then I need a classification to be done. Okay. So ideally, when we are doing this manually, we'll use say tools like Clay, or we'll use any other web research tool to find or enrich data points, and then we'll say finally do the scoring manually. Here, the first tool that we're going to cover today is Make. Make is a workflow automation tool, which looks something like this. When we log into it, it looks something like this, wherein we can build AI agents, we can build scenarios. So I'll start with explaining how to do this or how do we create this. But before that, for this specific use case, important question ये भी आता है many times. What sales folks ask is that how do we define a scoring parameter or scoring matrix? So the best way to do this is by seeing your previous meetings or previous deals, identifying for your past customers what is the point or what is that criteria that has worked really well, and when you match it. So हम लोग जैसे past records देखते हैं तो एक pattern दिख जाता है. In this case, say distribution potential, product fit, readiness for partnership, ये parameters है जो हम लोगों ने define किए हुए हैं. And we have scored it accordingly. That we know that okay, if there is a higher score for distribution and product fit, then there are more chances for this deal to get converted. Okay, and we have as well.
Pratham, तेरा network. Can you switch on off your video here?
Yeah, just a second. Is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, awesome. So as I was saying, is that कि हम लोग शुरू करते हैं with setting the ICP criteria. Now the interesting part over here is that the workflow that I've shown over here, okay, it has 5 steps. But it's not necessary that whenever we are designing these workflows on tools like Make or Zapier or Anytime, which are workflow automation tools, we'll need to have these many number of steps. ये हम लोग इसीलिए करते हैं ताकि हम लोगों को पता चले कि what is the exact step or what is the process that we would want to follow. I'll now show you the interesting thing. This is how it looks like. The entire ICP scoring engine looks like this. Just 3 simple steps. जिसमें से 2 steps जो है, that is just to get the input of the data and update the data. The most work that is getting done is done by this particular AI agent. So I'll show you one thing, that how does our initial data look like, to give you an idea. So any company data that you get or any prospect data that you get will include these basic fields. That's company, website, headcount, industry, the location, the contact person, and their designation. Even sometimes say the LinkedIn profile. If I want to enrich or if I want to score this data set, what I have done is I have defined or engineered a particular prompt. So Make gives you an option that, okay, you can select any AI model that you want to, be it OpenAI, ChatGPT, Claude, or any other Gemini, or any other model that you would want to select. Then what you have to do is give it instructions. And this is the most important part, because if you don't get this right, then you won't get your result or you won't get your output right. Okay. So how do we engineer this prompt is very simple. You break it down into parts. You tell what does the agent need to do. So we are telling it over here that, okay, you need to act as a ICP scoring engine for this particular company. And we have defined a complete objective as to what that agent needs to do. What are the financial products that we as a lending marketplace are having in place? What we need the company or what the agent needs to evaluate for that particular company. Say distribution potential. So we have even defined that these are the questions that it needs to ask or needs to research on for that company. And then finally give us an output in terms of the score and define the tier wise data. This is say part of the instruction. To set up the AI agent, what we also need to do is give it input. So the first step over here, that's the first node. That's wherein we have integrated a Google Sheet, and we have told that all you have to do is just get the data from that prospect list. Okay. फिर उसके ही inputs हम लोग यहाँ पे map कर रहे हैं. Okay. This is where we are mapping those inputs. And we are also defining how do we want the output to look like or the response structure to look like, wherein we have say distribution potential score, which is one of the parameters over here. Okay, then financial products rate. So this is ideally say blank data, as you can see over here. We need the AI agent to populate this data and give us the output. So what we are doing is that while this individual scores are there, we have a total ICT score, we have a tier-wise classification, we get a summary of that account, and we even get the recommended outreach priority. Along with say if there is a note to it as well. So I'll just come to this. But this is how say you define that this agent should work in this way. हम लोगों ने define क्या किया? We defined input parameters, the instruction, and the output. How does it need to look like? Once that gets executed, all we are doing is updating the blank data that is over here, okay, onto the Google Sheet. So when I actually start by clicking this on run or running this, as you can see what happens, it takes one entry, the agent starts thinking, and then after thinking, it will give me the output in this format wherein it has the score, it has the classification, it gives me a summary of that account showing, okay, where is the alignment and what can I pitch. So it recommends, say, for example, if I want to do a pilot, then in terms of say the outreach priority, whom is it that I can reach out to and what is it that I need to request from them. Now this use case can be expanded across multiple other industries as well, be it SaaS, be it IT, be it product, whatever organization that you are in, you need to just ensure that you are defining this scoring matrix properly. And once that is done, you will obviously have your output ready. What I need to do eventually, once say this data gets populated, is all I need to just check for targeting the tier A accounts. Once I'm filtering it, I already have the person that I need to reach out to. So I can do the outreach and then I'll have a better conversion rate. Or I'll know that, okay, this is the right time to reach out to this particular company. And I have an angle also to it. So this was about, say, our very first use case on how we are using Make to get this output. Okay. Next, when we talk about the other use case, okay, so this was a very basic use case where we are covering how to define parameters, build an AI agent, and get an output according to what we want. The next use case is slightly a bit complex and something that is opposite to the initial use case where we have a definite number of companies to reach out to. In this case, we are taking SaaS as an industry for an example, wherein self signups or product led growth is something very, very important. That is what works over here. Wherein you will see that if you have a SaaS product and if you're running a freemium model, then you will get a lot of signups. Challenge is that how do you convert those signups into paid customers? So for that, what you need to do is you need to do personalization. You need to have a very, very personalized outreach done to that particular prospect. And that is what we are going to see over here. And how do we ensure that for any sign up that comes in or for anyone who is showing interest or any cold prospect also, how do we personalize our outreach to them? Again, we start with the very first step, that is designing the workflow or designing the process as to what we want it to do. And the use case that we are taking over here is how do we build an AI personalization engine at scale. And we have two key workflows that we're going to see over here. One is wherein, say, we are doing an audience level filtration. Jesse, considering over here that...
Can you zoom in a bit?
Yeah. Is this better? Is this visible?
Better. Yes.
Yeah. So the use case over here, or the company that we are taking in this case, is a SaaS company that has built a project management tool. Now, project management is something that can be used by multiple teams, by marketing teams, product teams, HR teams, by the CXOs. So what we need to do is we need to have a different approach for all of these audiences. I cannot go to a marketing person and say that, hey, we have built a project management tool that can track your compliance activities. Or we cannot say, go to a product team and say that, hey, we have built a project management tool where you can, organize all of your campaigns. There is a misalignment over there. So how do we ensure that for every audience, we are going out and reaching out to them with a relevant use case or a very relevant message? That's the first thing that we are going to see. Second thing that we are going to see is, now before I show the second use case, I just have a question to ask. If you can just give a thumbs up or reaction that how many of you actually have used ChatGPT or Claude to say ask them to write a personalized email for you. A good amount of people have, हम लोग सभी करते हैं वो चीज, okay. But twist कहाँ पे आता है कि वो कितना relevant होता है. correct? हम लोग उसका relevance कैसे बनाएं? Because Claude, ChatGPT or these they don't know the actual context of things. So our second workflow is on designing something that will give context. Okay. And the tool that we are using over here is N8N. So I'll start with it. Just give me 1 second. So yeah, we have our SaaS workflow. Okay. Again, as I said, that the first starting point is designing the workflow. This time I'll explain. So N8N earlier मैंने जब दिखाया था logistics वाले use case, I did not deep dive into how it is created, but in this I'll explain you step by step how it gets created. This is how N8N looks like. Do you guys want me to zoom in or is this good enough?
This is fine.
Good enough. Good
Good
enough.
enough. Okay, perfect. So if you see N8N again, it's a similar tool like Make. It does workflow automation for you. Difference is, I'll tell you the difference. Now the question over here that a lot of sales professionals ask me is, if I have Make, if I have Zapier, if I have N8N, which tool should I use for what purpose? And are these all the same tools? I'll give a quick differentiation over here. It all depends on one, what is your budget, and second, what is your use case. The earlier use case that we had was for, say, ICP engine, where we built an AI agent. Okay, we got that entire thing done in 3 steps. Right? So Make's capability is to build AI agents. N8N's core capability is to automate workflows. Okay, although it has AI capabilities, but primarily it is very seamless in terms of automating workflows. So that's the key differentiation between, say, these two tools. And I will even explain later on how is Zapier also different. Okay. Broader, if you see all the tools, it starts with a particular initiation node. मतलब एक शुरू करने के लिए execute करने के लिए एक starting node होता है, and then to end it there are steps that follow. These are called as, say, the action nodes. Right? So what we are doing over here is we are just manually going to execute this. But the first thing that we are doing is, say, for example, for this use case, we have a data set in place. We have a data set of SaaS companies, or other, in this case, we have a data set of marketing companies, software development companies, IT companies. And the audience that we have is a mix of, say, marketing, product, HR, CXOs. My first workflow is to define that, okay, if I want to categorize these people into departments and then send them a specific email, then how do I do that? Okay, this is a first use case that we're going to cover is on email outreach or personalized email outreach. Okay, wherein what we are doing is we are first of all getting or using a Google Sheet node to get that data. One thing I'll just add on over here is that although I'm showing Google Sheet over here, but you can integrate your CRM as well. Google Sheet I've added just for the purpose of demonstration. In an actual live use case, we use CRM in place, or you can use any other data tool that you have in place as well. So any CRM tool like HubSpot, Salesforce, all of them can get integrated as well. The first thing that we do when we have to set this up, okay, is we select the data file, we select the sheet, and we execute the step. Okay. While using tools like N8N or Make, most important thing is that for every step that we are doing, or every step that we are adding, we need to execute that step and test it out. The test output will look something like this. So on the right hand side, if you can see, this is my output. So from the Google Sheet, N8N has fetched my data and loaded onto its data. Okay. So this is how I have my data. Finally, what I've done over here is that I've built a very basic AI agent that has one very simple task. It has to classify that job title into marketing, product, HR, CXO. Question over here would come, okay, what if I say, for example, just put a simple filter, okay, and then classify or categorize them into different categories? The issue over here is that people in general don't like to have a standardized designation. LinkedIn पे भी आप जब भी जाओगे, everyone has a very different designation that they put. Okay, some people will put VP product management जैसे यहाँ पे है. Some people will put vice president product management. So there are multiple variations that are there. So it becomes difficult for us to do that manually. And the second thing is that why do manually when you have an AI agent that can build this for you? So we have asked it to do the simple task to categorize in these category and give us the category as an output. So this is how, say, the output looks like. Okay. And the AI tool that we have used over here, that is OpenAI. So whenever say you are building an AI agent on Anytime, क्या होता है कि you first of all add the chat model and in the AI agent you input your prompt. Okay. So we have that output over here. Then what we are doing is that based on that categorization, we are splitting it into different, or rather routing it into different action items. So
Zoom,
if,
zoom.
yeah. So if there is say marketing, then marketing will have a different use case or different message that will go. Okay. So I'll show you how does that also look like. So when I talk about marketing, okay, what we have done over here is that when on Anytime specifically, whenever we are designing emails, okay, or we are adding emails to send, the most important aspect over here is how the email is going out. Is it an HTML type email or a text email? Okay, so subject line add karna, that is easy. But when I say the message, so if you see it's sort of in a coded language, it's an HTML language over here. So क्या होता है ना कि a lot of times people even ask, or you might have a question that does all of this require coding or not? Trust me, you don't need coding at all. Okay? All you need is ChatGPT. Because what we have to do, just for writing this code as well, I had written my email in this format. What I went on to do is I just copied this, asked ChatGPT, give me or convert this email into HTML, and I have just simply copy pasted that output over here. What we need to do is we just need to ensure that the output over here in this code format is resonating, or rather is exactly like we want it to look like. Okay. So over here, what we have done is that for every inbox, okay, marketing draft, product draft, HR draft, CXO draft, we have already defined. So what we are doing is we are sending out audience specific drafts over here. And this can be converted. So in case if say you don't want it to do the draft and directly send the email, so you can change this. Okay. Instead of draft, you can just click on message over here and click on send as an operation, as you can see. Okay. For now, what we are doing is we are just simply drafting it. Okay. And how would this look on my inbox is like this. In my inbox, I'll see the draft as this. Okay. But now if you see over here, okay, this draft has still come in the coded format. Okay. And I'll share an interesting thing over here that when we actually started out with building these systems and everything, the first time I automated or did this email automation, I actually ran this for a client where I was sending emails to prospects. This sort of an email by mistakenly went. Now I got literally scared. फट गया था कि अरे ये क्या हो गया? The first time you're trying something new and something like this occurs. So why does this happen? Okay. If you see for the product teams, my email is perfect. But for this particular HR email, there is a code type text that is going out or an HTML email that's going out. And this doesn't look good. So one thing that I need to say over here or share over here is that don't get scared. Okay, whenever something like this happens, just go back to your workflow. See that, okay, what is the difference between the two? Okay. So if say my product draft is here, and I'll even tell you what the error was. The error was in terms of the email type. I have written it in HTML over here. What Anytime offers is two things: HTML में डालो या text में डालो. If I go back and see the HR email that is there, the mistake is that it's a text that is showing over here. So it is considering the message as is. If I convert this into HTML, then it will go exactly in the format that I'm looking for. And eventually what we have is we have all the updates getting logged back over here, whether that draft was created or not, and whether the categorization was done properly or not. So this was the first use case wherein we are doing, say, audience specific personalization. Next is a more interesting use case, and this is something that we built for an HR tech client, where we are not just say personalizing, or we are not just say categorizing based on designation, but we are even creating personalized personalized LinkedIn drafts. So here we are doing a LinkedIn outreach, a personalized automated LinkedIn outreach for this client. Okay. Again, we have our data file, as you can see over here. We have the company name, the person's details, the designation. Okay. Category, key challenge, LinkedIn message, ये सारी चीजें हम लोग automate करेंगे. Okay. But say up till this is our data set. So what we are doing over here is that one, we are fetching that data from Google Sheet. Then we have an AI agent. But this is a more detailed AI agent that we have put in place, wherein we are defining every single input parameter. company name, so we are adding the company name. Now this again feels like code, but you don't need to worry. What is this? Is basically dragging and dropping. So if I just drag and drop over here, this automatically adds over here, right? That's how you can add the input parameters from your Google Sheet. And you see the output right here. So say for example, if there is a mismatch in the output, if instead of industry over here, I see location, then I know that there is a mistake in the input parameter and I can rework on it. Okay. Next is in terms of the prompt. So over here, say the client, as I mentioned, is in the HR tech space. What we have done is we have first defined the context as to what this company does. So this HR tech company has 3 different solutions. Okay. They have a solution for talent acquisition teams. They have a solution for learning and development teams. And we are even reaching out to CHROs, head of HR also for this. Okay, where we are pitching both of these things. Yeah. So the interesting thing over here is that when we pitch the wrong product to the wrong company or and the person, then you won't get any result out of it. So again, we start with say classifying the prospect over here. That's the first thing. Then for what designation? So as I showed earlier, people write designations on their own. What we have defined is we have given a couple of examples to understand that who will fall under L&D, who will fall under CHRO, who will fall under talent acquisition. That is step 1. Step 2 is where we are ensuring that it understands that for every audience, what does it need to focus on as per the use case. Okay. So if say it is learning and development, it needs to focus on learning effectiveness, employee engagement, and all of those things. Okay. And finally, we have given it a complete prompt to write the LinkedIn message as well for us. That okay, these many characters need to be there. This is how the tone should be. What all things need to be avoided. And this is very, very important when you are creating a prompt. If you don't mention things to do and things to avoid, then the AI will give you a output that is going to be very generic. So if you as a salesperson versus the competitor company's salesperson will have the same sort of an outreach message, and we would want to differentiate from that, and hence we engineer the prompt accordingly. Cool. Say now the prompt is ready. Okay. And I've even asked it to give me 3 outputs. One is category definition, then sharing what is the key challenge for that person based on their web research, and giving me the LinkedIn message as an output. Now, what is happening? As you can see over here, a few examples. Okay, it's a live test that we have done, wherein it has categorized it. It has given that okay, what is the key challenge that the company or that person might be facing, and it has given me a personalized message specific to that person. Okay, and everything will be different. Okay, so say for example over here it's starting with ICO leading this for this company. Okay, then as a director of this, so it personalizes according to the context, and the context is something that we need to define. Cool. Say ये हो गया हमारे drafts ready, our categorization is ready, then what do we do? Then the first and the most important thing is we update that data back onto our Google Sheet or our data source. This can be a CRM as well. The job over here for the salesperson is to one, review the data or review the output that is there. 2 things you can do. You can either automate this entire thing end to end without any human intervention, which we do not actually recommend. Or second is you review and then you approve the workflow to continue and send the messages as well. So what we are doing over here is that to automate the message sending, we are using another tool called as Phantom Buster, which we covered earlier in our previous workshops as well. Phantom Buster is a web scraping and automation tool again, which has official LinkedIn APIs. Okay. So what it does is it has the capabilities to send message or reach out to the person in a more personalized manner, right? So that is what we are doing over here. Now I'll show you the exact live output of this. Okay. So as you can see over here, this is the LinkedIn profile of our client. This person is in a senior HR leader, so it's in the CHRO HR category. So if you see the message for it is different. Then the message for say a talent acquisition person is different. And the message for the L&D person is also different. And these all
human karna.
Is this better?
Yeah, better.
Yeah. So if you can see over here, this is the message that was sent to the HR leader. This is the sort of message that was sent to the talent acquisition person. And then we have a message that was sent to the L&D. And all of this happens on that very same day, at that very same instant. So you don't need to say go onto LinkedIn manually, change the context, change the draft for different audiences. Okay? So this is how we are automating this end to end. So this was the second use case that we covered. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick pause and we'll take up 5 questions over here for these 2 use cases or so far whatever we have covered. What you can do is that you can just simply raise your hand and we'll take up 5 questions regarding these 2 tools first, or anything related to whatever we have covered so far.
So any question? Yeah.
Yes, raise hands if you have any questions, and Rudhan and Priyank will help you out with that if you have any questions right now.
At any given point, did you feel that okay, you weren't able to understand anything and you want me to revisit that, or any other specific questions as per your use case also that you would have? You can even ask that. Yes, and
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to check if the data that you have put in for the sheets can be pulled out through Apollo as well, because that's where we get the email data, right? So can that be also done using n8n is something I wanted to understand.
yes, you can. There's a direct API integration. What I'll do is I'll just quickly take you through a couple of web pages. So for these tools itself, right, they have multiple integrations that they offer. I'll just
All
quickly
right.
present my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you can see over here, when I talk about n8n, it has again multiple integrations, right, from chat models to productivity to all of them. Similarly, we have for Make as well, right? And we have for Zapier as well. Now, the interesting thing over here is that, say, for example, there is no official integration that is visible over here, or they have not mentioned, or they are not yet officially integrated. In that scenario, what do you do?
Okay.
So they provide open API and API integration, and Apollo has API keys that it provides, right? So you can
Correct.
manually even set it up.
Got it. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Makbul.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Thank you. So basically, I have used n8n from last couple of months. I have made also some automation, but want to know about first email we have sent, and not everyone responds in first email. We have to send follow up also.
Yeah.
So for follow up in email reply, how it will be work for n8n or in May?
Okay.
Like already we have sent it. Like if we take any subscription from any mail sender platform, so there will be option of adding follow up 1, 2, 3. But in anything, how it will be work if I send an email like now or after 7 days I want to send a follow up. So how it will be work?
Sure. So I actually have it right ready. The very first use case that I showed, right? That is exactly what we did. Just let me know once my screen is visible.
Yeah,
It's visible. Awesome. So as you can see over here, what we are doing is that we are scheduling a trigger. Daily, I want my mails to go out at 9:30, okay, in the morning.
Okay.
What we are doing is we are fetching the data. Whatever new data is there we are sending the intro email. For whatever prospect, say it's an old data where the intro email has gone. What we are doing is we have if conditions over here. Okay.
Okay.
So as per that if condition, checks that okay, which follow-up needs to be sent. So over here, say if intro email is sent, then it will send follow-up 1. If follow-up 1 is sent, then it will send follow-up 2. So that is how we are doing it. Now the interesting thing over here is, as you mentioned, that how do we know whether the person has replied or not, and how do we do it over here? That's wherein you can check for reply using a Gmail node. What this node does is, based on the thread ID of that intro email, it checks whether the person has responded or not. Only if the person has not responded will the follow-ups go. Okay, and all of this gets logged back onto the data file that we have. Okay, so this is how you can create multiple follow-up sequences.
And one thing I have, and then just click on the shake reply one.
Which one?
Shake reply one, and that not, yeah.
Yeah.
So thread ID, that will be like thread ID will be like the email ID or the total email.
thread ID we get from the intro email that we are sending. So over here from the intro email as an output, we will get the thread ID that we are logging on into the Google Sheet. So if you see over here in the Google Sheet, we are getting the thread ID. Okay, and that thread ID itself we are using.
That thread ID will give Gmail, or it will be
Gmail will be giving it.
Okay.
That you will directly get from Gmail. So any mail that gets sent, right? By default, as an output, you will get the thread ID.
Okay.
And you need to just map that to ensure that there is alignment, and that your follow-up also goes in the same thread instead of a new email.
One thing I have a doubt, you mentioned that also, but I want to clear more. That thread ID given by Gmail, or that is the thread ID given by NATM?
Will be given by Gmail. So
Okay.
what we can do is that if you have more questions or more doubts related to this use case, we can surely connect after the meeting as well, after this workshop as well.
Okay, understood. Okay. No issue. Thank you.
Ravi.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Rudan. Thank you, Priyank, for doing this workshop for us. I have a one thing to cross check when you are automating all these workflows and checking in for personalization and customization of the message or email. Can we also get to know whether our ICP is currently looking forward to buy? And I think, Rudan, you were mentioning about the intent part. How do you do it? How are the checks and balances that one can see or look forward to, whether to know when is the right time to actually approach and drop those emails and LinkedIn messages?
You mean to say like intent, like buying intent?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, it is I'm covering that in my next use case as well. So you'll get to know in that. But earlier I showed the ICP engine, right? So that is
Okay.
wherein we are actually showing. But yeah, Priyank,
But generally, you can use Clay as well. A lot of times, actually, Clay gives you that buying intent. If you can use Clay, it gives it's an AI powered prospecting tool, so it helps to understand the buying intent. And the another thing, what we also try to focus on, we use a combination of Clay and Claude, where we can understand the buying intent of that particular company or a customer. Okay, so we can figure that out. So we are going to cover that.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Done. Look forward to it. Thank you so much.
I think one more question left. DJ.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Sharad. Hey, Rupant. Hey, Priyank. Thank you for doing this. A quick question I had while I was dealing with certain clients across the OCs in terms of UK and US. Many times, outreach, for example, does not recognize automated emails in terms of out of office emails, or in terms of not working more here in the company anymore kind of responses. How does this setup account for that in terms of how the workflow is?
okay, cool, very interesting thing, and we are actually building for this. It's the same workflow. Okay, it's the same node. I'll again present. Okay, when we are using this check reply thing, the output of this gives us the body of the email as well. So this if condition, okay, as you can see, it one checks for whether that message, a second message on the first message, has come in or not. And then we can use an AI to analyze that, okay, whether that is a bounce email, whether that is, say, actual reply. So what is it that we can define at this step using just this node? So if it's an out of office and we still want to keep it in the funnel, all we need to do is just put up one more step over here in this if condition and update a status onto the Google Sheet or the CRM that, yeah, you should go ahead and do the follow-up on the next day. Cool.
Let's take the last question. The fifth one, Rashid has a question.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question from my side. I want to know this innate Zapier and all that we are talking about. Innate is it a paid one or it's a free one? So
Okay.
that's my question.
Cool. I forgot to inform this earlier, but every use case that we are showing today is on free accounts. Okay. These are all free trials. These are all free credits that we are utilizing. Yes, these tools are paid, but that is once you have learned using them and once you have a proper use case in place and you know that, okay, investing into this will give me a good value. For example, if I tell you, N10 cost 2,000 a month and it gives you 2,500 workflows to execute. Okay.
Okay.
At this point, we have sent, say, just if I talk about the email automation, we have sent close to 3,700 emails in a month using just N10. Same thing when you're using tools like Apollo or any other email automation tool, it's going to cost you more than that. Okay. So this is where you do a cost benefit analysis as to, okay, whether investing in this tool will make sense or not. But primarily, every workflow that we are showing today is using free credits.
Got it.
जनरली हम लोग का रिकमेंडेशन यही होता है सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड एवरी सेल्स पर्सन इज टू यूज दीज टूल्स फ्री में. और हम तो इंडियंस है तो हम तो जुगाड़ भी कर लेंगे पहले तो. ठीक है, तो टू बी ऑनेस्ट, डू इट फॉर फ्री, यूज फ्री अकाउंट्स, ओके, and then try and test and see if it is working or not, and then go for paid versions. Okay, yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Cool. I'll start with the next use case that we have in place. The next use case, just a second.
We have 3 more, right, Ratan?
Yeah, 3 more. Okay, so the next use case that we have is something very interesting. That is IT services and product engineering companies. Now, this as an industry is very, very competitive, and primarily target audience would be mid-market to enterprise organizations. What I've seen sales folks do in this space as well when we talk about sales signals is that they look for hiring signals like, is this company hiring product engineer, full stack developer or not? And then when they get the notification of it, they start approaching them. So that is what I've seen. The challenge over here is in terms of understanding which accounts to prioritize and how to do a personalized outreach for them. Okay. Now, considering that IT services is a long sales cycle sort of a space, what we do is we do account-based motions over here to ensure that we are reaching out to the right companies at the right time and targeting the right people with the right message. Okay. So again, the basic start point is designing that workflow. That if I want to do account-based motions, now before I move into this also, there has been a lot of say confusion around, okay, what are account-based motions, what is account-based marketing and all of those things. You ask a marketing person that, okay, mujhe ABM karna hai, what they will say, okay, yeah, we can do LinkedIn ads for it. Okay, what they are going to do is that they will ask you for a list of companies to target, and then they will run LinkedIn ads on the employees of those companies. That is one way to look at ABM. For sales, ABM is more precise and more accurate, wherein what we want to do is that we want to find the right accounts to reach out to and the correct people in those companies to reach out to. So what we start with is, first of all, getting the target accounts. That is using, say, filters on Sales Navigator or Clay to get a data list. Then what we are using over here to build that entire motion is Claude, where Claude does the research, does the scoring, understands the pain points, and gives us a complete brief, and that includes, say, the messaging angles and everything. So I'll just quickly take you through how this is done. The first step to this, okay, to building this entire engine is to define that who is our target audience. Okay, so that is wherein we start with Clay. Now in Clay, what we have done is we have used the basic parameters the way we use on Sales Navigator. We have the company size filter, industry filter, location filter. In addition to that, we even added the funding amount filter over here to give us some better data set. So this is how we enrich the data on Clay. Finally, what I have also found out, or what I wanted to know, is what is their annual revenue. So I have these 2 parameters: funding amount range, annual revenue range. Okay. My recommendation is don't go into the accuracy of these. These are just ballpark figures, just approximations that we need to understand the scale. Okay, because at this point we are trying to make a connect and not directly sell. Okay, and finally we have the website tech stack that we have tried to find that, okay, based on their website, what are the tools or what is the tech that they are using, okay, to give us an idea on to what can be pitched. So for a specific project, if you want to pitch a specific technology and we have the capability of it, like if a company is looking for Java developer, if that is mentioned onto their platform, then we know that, okay, we can pitch accordingly. So this is the first step wherein we are creating that data set and we are exporting this into a CSV format. Next comes is building that entire engine on Claude. Now, again, Claude code is paid, so we are not using that. What we are using is we are building a Claude skill. So to build that, what I'm doing is I'm defining input-output parameters that I want. Okay. As part of my account research or account-based engine, what I'm starting with is defining that, okay, I want to start with giving my company context first as to what my company is doing, what is my ICP, to give Claude that context. Then I'm importing the prospect data. So whatever say I'm getting in from SalesNav or Clay or any other data source like Apollo, I'm giving that as an input over here. What I'm asking it to do is first of all start with account research, wherein it understands the company's business model, the product services, their tech stack, and all the other details, and finds out a fitment. It does the ICP scoring as well based on the parameters that I'm defining. Further, based on these two parameters, it creates the messaging angle. It should give me the LinkedIn outreach sequence. And finally, a document, a sort of a playbook that, okay, for this account, you need to do these things. Okay. So that is what I have defined over here. How does this help is this helps me in terms of prompt engineering, wherein I now know that if I'm defining these parameters, I can just input these parameters into ChatGPT, tell it that help me create a prompt for Claude. अभी use case क्यों why am I using ChatGPT to create the prompt instead of directly typing onto Claude? The reason being is ChatGPT offers you open tokens to do experiment anything. It does not have a limit. It does not have, say, a time limit. In Claude, for the free version, what we have seen is that if you ask it to do a lot of tasks, it gets timed out and it asks you to do later on. So for always creating a prompt, my recommendation is use ChatGPT. So wherein we defined every single thing, okay, in detail that, okay, what all things need to be done. What is the task that it needs to do? Okay, then what should the output be like? Finally, we use this to create the Claude skill. Now to create a Claude skill, what you need to do is very simple. This is how Claude looks like. Okay, you go to customize, you go to skills. Yeah, but add skill mein you just create with Claude, wherein once you click on this, it will ask you to enter the prompt. You just copy this prompt, put it over there, and it will give you an output like this. That's a skill file, wherein it's telling that, okay, this is the product of the company context, and this is how the ICP profiling needs to be done. This is how the workflow needs to be done. So everything that I mentioned over here on the Google Sheet is something that it has configured over here in detail. Okay, so it has engineered or rather created that skill on its own to do that exact task. Now the output of this, okay, what do I do? It is very simple. I'll just show this to you. So this is what I did. The exact output that we saw in Clay over here, I exported that and I pasted it over here and I asked that, okay, use this engine to score and create the AVM for the top account in this list. So say if I have a list of, in this case, 30 accounts, but say you have 1,000 company names or 1,000 company lists and you want to find out that, okay, which are the top 20, top 30 companies that have a requirement or that I have a signal that they are sharing. So here in this case, it found that one company and it has given me a complete playbook. So this is how the playbook looks like, wherein it first gives me the account snapshot. Okay. What is their engineering team size? And IT services, this becomes very important because if say I'm pitching staff augmentation as a service, that is say providing them resources to do the development work, then I need to know that whether they need it or not. I have an ICP fitment score. We even get research highlights. So this is where signals come into picture, where what Claude does is it checks for that company, finds relevant signals, okay, related to expansion, related to headcount, related to hiring signals, all of those things or any recent news, and tells us that, okay, where are we aligning or where can our company align with what they are doing. It gives us those trigger events specifically that, okay, if they have raised a funding, then yeah, we know that. If there is headcount growth, we get that. If they are looking at deploying, say, in this case, for the IT services company, we mentioned that, okay, we are into AI development. So AI agent, and if they have that on their roadmap, we get to know that. Right? And it gives us messaging angles, that what is the messaging angle that we need to follow when we are reaching out to that company. What we also get is whom to target in that company. Eventually, from all of this, we even get to know, or we get personalized drafts for LinkedIn outreach, right from say sending the connection note to the intro message and the follow-ups. We give the cold email sequence. So for all of you who are thinking that, okay, if we want to do end to end, okay, and we don't want to use anything, we don't want to use me, we just want one place, one thing where we upload data, we get the output. You use Claude. So you have everything coming in a single document. Okay, you have the email drafts and you even have the next recommended next steps. Let's say, for example, if this person is not available, then what can be done next? Okay. It gives the account summary that, okay, what is the fitment, what is the total score that it has been able to put. So this is how that output looks like. And this can be again configured based on the signals that you are looking for. Okay. So this is our third use case, that is on how can you do account-based motions for IT services companies. Okay. Cool. The next use case that we have is for manufacturing companies. What we have seen in manufacturing companies is over here, it is more project sales that happens, wherein the sales cycles are way too long. Say if we talk about pharma companies or industrial automation companies, then first of all, in this space, automation or tools hasn't exploded that much as it has happened in tech-based companies. They still follow the older parameters wherein companies roll out RFPs or RFQs, sales teams analyze it, discuss with engineers, give a bid, and all of those things. Or second thing is, say for example, you analyze the import-export data from any sources like Import Yeti or any other import-export data source that is there. You see that, okay, what product is that company purchasing? You then reach out to the procurement team of that company, and then you ask them that, do you have a requirement for this product of ours or not? That is how sales in manufacturing gets done. And for that, what we have built is we have two use cases. One is a procurement intelligence engine. What we are considering over here is that, say, we are a chemical raw material manufacturing company that supplies to pharma companies. Okay. So we are first of all getting that import-export data. We are enriching that company data. We are mapping the relevant person to reach out in that company. And then a complete sales outreach gets done. The tools that we are using over here are Zapier, Clay, and Claude. Okay. So just give me a minute. What I'll do, I'll just stop presenting for a second. I'll just set that up. Just give me 1 minute.
Guys, you might be seeing a creative on LinkedIn where, people are making a creative like there's a team of 30 SDR versus there's a team of 5 SDR with one GTM engineer. So this is something that's sort of a live example where, let's just say, one guy is taking care of all the system. I think if all these kind of systems are in place, majorly you just need SDR either to take care of the system or for especially cold calling. Rest everything is getting automated end to end, and there are enough number of checks and balances. So anyone who's more into GTM engineering or who wants to transition into this role where you want to take care of system, build systems, from a sales leader's point of view, companies are ready to spend and give a lot of money to such folks. At the same time, companies are looking also towards this kind of system nowadays. So take this session very carefully. It's very new for me also, and I think a lot of other folks over here, because a lot of you guys reach out to asking ki, so that by GTM engineering mein koi roles hai ki nahi hai. And I think if you are able to do these kind of things, you become hireable for any organization. I think any organization would like to have these kind of systems in place, provided the company is funded and have a little bit of money to spend on this. Great.
Okay, I'll just share my screen again. Yeah. Cool. So again, say I'll just start with the data set first. Now this is a sample data that we have got from, say, import-export data set, where we have, say, the company name, we have their website, their LinkedIn profile. We know that, okay, what is the product that they have imported, which is the supplier company. These are basic details that any person who's working in manufacturing space in this specific segment gets as a data set. Okay, we know their volumes, but how do we further enrich this data? Okay. How do we know whom to reach out to in these companies after having such highly data driven, where we know that, okay, they have a requirement, they are purchasing this product? What is the approach that we need to follow? Okay. What we are doing over here is we are using Zapier. Okay. The very first thing, as you can see over here, we are fetching that data. That's the Google Sheet data that we have. and we are using Clay to enrich that data. So in Clay, what we have done is that as and when a new data gets added onto the Google Sheet, Clay does the enrichment for you, wherein the input is just company name, website, and LinkedIn profile. What Clay does is it gives us the company size, the industry, the description, the annual revenue. Beyond this, what we have asked Clay to do, or what we have done on Clay, is we have created a procurement signal agent. The task of this agent is very simple: to search the World Wide Web and try to align that, okay, for this company, are they expanding or not? What is the amount, or what is, say, the funds that they have for expanding into a region, or are they looking for a specific product in the market right now? So all of those signals we are trying to capture. And in summary, we get this. So this is the first thing that we get. Now we have used Clay for just the purpose of data enrichment over here, because we want Zapier to do the detailed analysis for us. Okay. So we start with creating that record. Okay. We get that record from Clay once it has completed the enrichment. We update that entire record back onto the Google Sheet. So if you see, we saw on Make how the workflow was horizontal. We saw on Anyden how the workflow was horizontal. Zapier is a bit different because it follows an top to bottom sort of a vertical workflow process. Again, every single step that we are defining over here, okay, is a node, and this can all be added just by clicking a plus. Okay. Then what it does is updates all of that data. So say if I don't have industry headcount annual revenue as part of my initial data, then I have that enrich over here using Clay. In addition to that, I have the procurement signal as well. Okay. What I need to do next, as I mentioned, is that, okay, how do we define, okay, whom to reach out to, what should the priority be, or what should, say, the outreach email draft look like? Okay. So for that, what we have done is we have built an AI agent again over here. So we have used Zapier's AI agent to do that for us. Okay. I'll expand onto this. And if you see, it's the same process. You give input, you give a prompt, and you define how do you want the output. So you've given it the input parameters that, okay, these are the things, these are the enriched data that we have. This is what you need to do as an procurement intelligence analyst, is you see the import volume, you see the other parameters, and then you score. Okay, so it's doing ICP scoring for us and giving us a priority that, okay, in this company, you reach out to them. Beyond this, it recommends who is the persona, who is the designation, or whom should we reach out to. Over here, we just have, say, the designation. We can expand this workflow by adding Clay again over here in between to find the exact person, their LinkedIn profile, their email, their contact number to reach out to. Okay. We get a recommended sales angle along with the reasoning that, okay, if you follow the sales angle, then why? Right? And this helps salespeople in terms of what, that they don't have to spend hours doing account research. All they need is that, okay, I have the score, I can just filter this data according to that. I know whom to target, I know what to pitch. It's as easy as that. And finally, we have that complete output. Right? So this is one of the use cases that we wanted to show on Zapier as to how can you, build a procurement intelligence engine that is something more on the lines of account research. Okay? If you remember earlier, I also said that since this industry is very traditional, there are a lot of RFQs, RFPs that get rolled out. And it becomes difficult for, say, just a salesperson to analyze this, because it requires engineering teams, it requires product teams, and a lot more to give you that input. So in this case, what we have done is we have created an RFQ analyzer, where all we have to do is just input the RFQ document, our manufacturing capabilities. Am I audible? I'm not sure.
Yes.
It's better, right? Okay, cool. So it reads the inputs, it matches it, it asks a certain specific questions. That if, say, for example, काफी बार RFQ में क्या होता है, or from a sales standpoint also, you see, they ask you that, okay, we will only be able to provide a credit period of 90 days. But our credit period terms are that, no, we cannot take more than 60 days of credit period. So are we flexible enough for that? So it ensures, Claude ensures that it asks you those questions to align that, okay, how much flexible are you? How can you fulfill certain gaps? And finally, we get that output. So I'll just quickly show you how the output also looks like. So over here, what I did is I inputted the RFQ document and my manufacturing capability document. It gave me, or it asked me certain questions based on technical, commercial, and capacity basis, which I answered. Now it's not just asking me questions, what it is even saying that, say, this is the difference. Is this a solution that you can implement and fill the gap? Okay. So what ideally takes hours to discuss with engineering teams, production teams, can get done immediately over here. And as an end output, what you get is a complete analysis report. Okay. Just a second to load it. But what this tells us whether to bid or not bid for that particular proposal or not. And this is a complete management style report that we get, that we can directly even present to our management, saying that we evaluated this RFQ or this RFP and this is our output. It does a technical fit assessment for you. It checks for compliance, capacity assessment, quality and risk assessment. And finally, it even tells you that, okay, this is what you need to do in terms of the bid, that do you need to go forward with it or not. Okay. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show, that the capabilities of these tools don't just lie in terms of, say, automating our basic sales activities, but it goes beyond that as well. Okay. So it all depends on what do you feel that, okay, if I do this, then my work is going to become more efficient, or this will yield better results for it. Okay. And this is how I'm also going to differentiate myself from a normal or person who is just doing sales traditionally. Okay. So this was about the fourth workflow that we had, fourth use case that we had. Now coming to the last workflow. Okay. And this is very interesting because international sales is something that I've heard a lot of sales folks are moving towards, or they are exploring that, okay, how do we shift from, say, doing domestic sales to international sales? The challenge for international sales is, sitting in India, if you want to do international sales, it becomes difficult. Why? Because again, there is that bias that, okay, the response rate itself won't be that great if you're reaching out from an Indian profile. Second is different regions, different mindsets, different approach. My personal experience, if I say, if I'm looking at approaching UK versus USA, UK, I know that people are a bit laid back and they don't like cold emails, or there are highly GDPR compliant. Whereas in US, they like to keep things casual but to the point. Okay. So how do I ensure, or how do I do this, and how do I set something that can give me an output like this? Okay. So for Indian companies that are doing international sales, the direct approach is through events and exhibition. I'm going to show you one of the live use cases that we worked on with a client in the warehouse automation or a robotic space, wherein they were going to attend an event in Europe. Okay. So the event's name was Deliver. So for them, what they got was a delegate list. That, okay, yeah, there are these many delegates that are coming in. Right. What we did is we used Claude. Okay. Second. So we used Claude to identify, okay, that for these delegates, okay, who are the delegates that we can approach. Okay. So it gave us an output like this, wherein it analyzed that, okay, for these delegates and the companies that are there, these are their requirements and how much it aligns with the company that was my client. Okay. We know that who are the top countries that are participating. What we did using this is we tried to find out then the people to approach, okay, who are having a requirement who fit exactly as per the solution that we are offering. We used Claude also to draft response or draft initial messages for them, okay, personalized messages for them. And trust me when I say that the output for this, we just did LinkedIn activity, that is LinkedIn outreach activity, for 2 weeks, just a span of 2 weeks. We sent 400 connections, out of which 239 got accepted. Okay, we received 79 replies, out of which 41 confirmed booth visits for that company, and we got 4 meetings booked. Right. Now I'll show you something very interesting. Is, as you can see over here, okay, what we did is we just sent an invite and a connection note. And just from sending this one connection note, we were able to achieve this result. So after, say, using Claude for doing this level of outreach as well, okay, you understand one thing, that doing things manually, if I did not have Claude in place, what would I have done is I would have just gone out and reached out to all those 706 people in a span of 2 weeks. But I know that LinkedIn itself gives me a restriction that I can send only 200 connections a week. So if I know that I'm going to send only 400, so out of the 706, how do I prioritize the top 400 to reach out to give me the best conversion? is what I as a salesperson will think like. Okay. So this was the final workflow that we had in place to show you, to explain about international sales as well. Lastly, when we talk about, say, the business outcomes, okay, many a times we have seen our clients, we have seen other sales folks ask that, okay, how is this going to help my business or help me? We talk about, say, the basic workflows, data enrichment, data process, email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp outreach, nurturing workflows. We calculated that, okay, if you want to achieve certain numbers, how many email IDs, how many sales navigator accounts, how many WhatsApp accounts will we need, and what is the average time a workflow will take to execute things. So if say I want to get a prospect data that includes 1,000 emails, 500 contact numbers, if I'm doing it manually, it's going to take me good 2 to 3 days to get it done. But if I'm doing that thing again through an automated workflow through Anytime, Make, or Zapier, it's going to take me 70 to 80 minutes. Okay? That is what we are able to map in terms of the business outcome. That is two things. One is how much cost saving, and second is how much time saving does it give to a business or to a salesperson. Okay. So yeah, this is about the business outcome. Last thing that I want to show over here that is very, very important. This is something that we stress out on any person who's transitioning to a GTM role or any company who is setting up a GTM engine is governance and security. So what we have done is we have prepared a checklist on how can you actually become secure or how can you follow certain things when you are setting up that entire GTM engine. It starts with the very base as to who owns the tech stack. Okay, who owns these tools? Are you as an individual purchasing it, or is your company purchasing it for you? Who is it? So what you need to do is you need to maintain, say, an inventory that for different tools, be it a CRM tool, email automation tool, a workflow automation tool, you need to define that who is the owner of that, who owns that workflow, and you need to ensure that, okay, on what tool or what email ID are you hosting these. The other important aspect also comes in is in terms of, say, the channel governance. Now, very, very important for us as sales folks is that when we are sending cold emails or doing LinkedIn outreach, we have seen that for email specifically, these days with the restrictions that Gmail or G Suite or Outlook has, our emails get marked as spam very quickly. Any domain that is there, within 2 weeks, you will see that the domain health gets dropped significantly. So how do we ensure that we reduce that or we are in the safe limits? So we have defined this that, okay, if it's a new domain, then you need to start with sending 10 to 20 emails per inbox. Okay. Then you can increase to, say, 30 to 50 emails and then eventually increase to 500 emails as well. So how do you scale it over time is also something that you need to define. So you need to take care of these basic things in terms of, say, channel governance. Other things that you need to take care is integrations. Now, a lot of you already might be using certain tools. Okay. How do you integrate that into these tools is what you need to see. This is the part where I would say things will get a bit technical. So you need to use their support teams. You need to ensure that you have a support over here to do these things, right? And the other things include, again, data ownership, that how are you ensuring that everything that you have is in the CRM or in one place itself. It is not fragmented. So initially when we started with this workshop, we told that the starting point is that there is fragmented data everywhere. So no one gets visibility into what is the conversion we are getting, what is working, what not. So always ensure that you have your data stored in a single place. If it's a Google Sheet, then all your data needs to be there. If it's a CRM, then all your data needs to be there and it needs to execute also from that data source, right? And finally, automation governance or monitoring. This is something that we stress on every single day, because what happens is, people say that, okay, this is a workflow that I can set for you. People will set that workflow and then they will go. Okay. But you don't know whether this workflow is going to work. How do I customize this workflow? Is it running daily without any errors or not? That's wherein you need to start, or you need to ensure that you're monitoring these workflows as well. So you need to create a routine, a monitoring routine, that every day I'm going to check how my workflow is performing. I'm going to check what are the errors in place. If there is anything, then how do I resolve it? These are things that you need to take care of. So that is about, say, this entire workshop. I'll just take you through one last slide as to, sharing about what our offerings are. Priyank, do you want to take this up?
नहीं नहीं, ये तीन ऑफरिंग्स है वैसे तो GTM इंजीनियरिंग प्लस end-to-end lead generation. engineering, GTM engineering implementation and training, and सिर्फ training भी हम करवाते हैं ऐसा है. So there are 3 services. But primarily we focus on end to end as well. हम लोग ज़्यादातर end to end करते हैं along with GTM engineering. With some companies we are doing the training in a second service, which is GTM engineering implementation and training. जहाँ पे हम लोग support भी दे रहे हैं, training भी दे रहे हैं और कंप्लीट हैंड होल्डिंग दे रहे हैं. जब तक एक्चुअली उन लोग का रिजल्ट्स ना आए तब तक हम लोग वो करवा रहे हैं टीम्स को भी. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर डूइंग राइट नाउ.
Great.
So I think, yeah,
परंपरा को बरकरार करते हैं. Then I think that's it for the session. We'll start the Q&A. Before
Yeah.
that, requesting all of you to switch on the camera. Let's click a photo for LinkedIn. अभी तक तो सब लोग उठ के ब्रश वश कर ही लिए होंगे यार. I think. But when we started, I saw half of the people here there. I think directly they jumped down from. Ayush is looking fresh and cool. Yeah. Anyone else wants to switch it on? Clicking it in next 3 seconds. I'll wait for another minute. Not minute, yeah, minute बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा. Fine, clicking it, guys. Just a second. 3, 2, 1, smile. Perfect, great. So I'll be posting this on LinkedIn. Please do repost it. That's how people get associated with Indo Sales. A lot of you guys have not posted on LinkedIn before joining the session. I still had sent you the email because people requested if there are some reasons. I think reposting will not cause any trouble. So please repost it. And I'll share my screen. Just a second. Shout out to Ames Consulting for taking this workshop. I think a lot of new insights and eye openers for a lot of folks here. Priyank, CEO and a dear friend of mine. Please go follow him. Bug him on LinkedIn. कि भाई कैसे करते हो, क्या करते हो. Rudant is a magician. With respect to all these technical aspects, go bug him. Yeah, आपका भाई, you guys already know me. This is Indo Sales. Recently, yesterday we posted, guys, regarding the salary. A lot of people texted me. And this is based on our job portal. So anybody looking out for a job, especially in SDR part, इसको एक बार देख लेना. This is helping a lot of. Yeah, कल 3 लोगों ने मेरे को बोला कि भाई, I was having negotiation round and I have passed on this to my HR and the entire conversation drifted completely. So I'll be putting something like this for AE also probably next week जब थोड़ा time मिलेगा. तो follow the page. All these things gets updated over here, and I hope all of you are part of the WhatsApp community. Do this every weekend. It's growing by God's grace and all your support. So after the session, if you have learned something, please drop it in the comment section and share it and repost it. Let's start. I'll stop the recording. 1 second.